All right, here we go. Let's take our minute of silence and do a little bit of breath work. Let's do that on our own today. All right, namaste. And let's begin. We're going to start a little differently today. So standing. This is part half eagle. Kind of, I'll call it maybe half eagle. That's not a bad name for it. Because we're going to start with crossing one leg over the other. So notice which one you cross over first. That's kind of an indication of either a habit or what is most comfortable for you. And it doesn't matter, no right or wrong. But I like to line up all 10 toes. And then try to get equal weight in both feet as they're crossed. Sit up or stand up as tall as you can, and then kind of realign, reassess. And then not using the arms in eagle, which is why I'll call it half eagle, we'll begin to forward fold. So as you start to fold, just let your arms dangle in front and see where your first resistance point is. And stop there, don't go any further. If you can touch the floor, go ahead. But if not, that's okay. So wherever you're at, slowly come back up. Keep the weight balanced in both feet. Come back up to that nice, straight standing posture. And then we're going to do that again. So lower. Soon as you're at the low point, come right back up. We're going to do that a few times just to warm up the spine and open things up. You might want to take a breath at the top and then exhale your way down. And then come back up. All right, this next time, find your way back down, come to a little bit lower. If your fingers are touching the floor, well, even if they're not, we're going to brush them from side to side. So if your arms are dangling, just dangle them side to side. So here's the tricky part where the weight stays balanced on both feet. So kind of get that motion going. And then center yourself and come back up. And make sure you're going slow so there's no tipping. You want to eliminate all tipping. Let's uncross and just take a little break. So shake it out somewhat. We're going to do the same side again. All right, so cross over the same way. Align the spine, align everything, start the fold. See if you can go a little bit lower. Now this time, bring both of your hands to one side, doesn't matter. Just and hold it there. And notice where you're feeling a stretch. Let's just hang here for a bit. All right, now walk to the other side, do the same thing, and notice what part of the body is doing the work. Center. Come up. Balance the feet. Balance the weight. Step out of it. Take a little break. Nice breath. And shake it out if you want. Always shake it out. If you have that inclination to do that, follow that. It's really a good thing, just to shake the limbs out and get that stiffness worked out again. Always do that. Even if I don't cue it, just go ahead and do it. All right, let's switch sides. So cross, and now balance the feet again, and notice why it feels different, why maybe you crossed one way versus the other way. Can I do a little intuitive thinking here? Try to get your toes lined up as best you can. They're not going to totally line up. Straighten and then start to fold. And then see if that resistance point is the same or has it changed. We're going to do this several times, so come back up. And all the while, this is a noticing of what is working. What part of the body are you using? Where do you feel the stretch more? So I'll give you a little hint. It's all IT band stuff. It's all this outer edge of the thighs. So it's called the iliotibial band or IT band. I'm sure you've heard that many times. So keep trying that. Lower your hands, come to that new resistance, equal weight all the time. And then when you come back to standing, just step it out. All right, let's try it again, same side. Now go to that lowest point you can without force. And then start the sweeping side to side, even if your hands are in the air. All right, center and come up. Keep equal weight. Step it out. Just take a minute to notice. All right, let's try it again. Same side, lower, and then pick a side and hold it there. While you're down here, notice which foot is crossed over and which side you picked. And I'm sure it's purely for balance reasons, but it'll be interesting to see how that worked. All right, try the other side. Walk through center. Stay very balanced. And then center and come up. Shake it out a bit. And there we go. Just notice. Let's see what's happening with that little stretch. All right, the next one, and you can use the back of a chair or a wall if you want. It's just a leg adduction. So we're going to be moving one leg out to the side. So what you can do is you can start just a real little bit. And if you want to work on balance too, try that. Any way you want to do it. So it really doesn't matter if you hang on because we're working with the leg anyway. But it's better if you don't tip. So if you need some support, go for it. So what I do is I keep my foot flexed and then I get my balance and start challenging myself on how far out I can go. So let's just get that far, do a few of them, and then come back to standing. And then try the other side. So just start small. Keep the foot flexed, which comes natural, of course. And then get that sense of balance before you pause. And then center. Okay, so you got that feeling of the adduction of the thighs. So now this time, go to the first side you're on, tighten the whole leg from hip to heel. Keep your foot flexed, keep the whole leg that you're moving tight and bring it out to the side. Keep it tight and then slowly bring it in like you're pressing against a stretch band. Like if you had a band on your leg, you're pulling the band out to the side and then bringing it back in again. So say the band is on your opposite leg and you're pulling against that. So this is just much more isometric than it is, the tension and release exercises that you can do in some classes. And this has quite the same benefits, especially if you do about 10 of these. And you go slow and you keep the leg tense the whole time. So it feels natural to me to release it, especially when I bring my leg down, but try not to. And then take a pause. All right, let's try the other side. So tense, flex. And really give that leg a tight, firm tension, holding release, not a release, but just hold the tension in the whole leg. And think of that resistance band, like you're really pulling against it, pressing it in. So you should feel it right up into the glutes. And rest when you're ready. Feels about equal. All right, shake that out. Just take a notice moment. And then, this next one is just a wall squat. I'm sure we've all done them. And I've got a little ball that I can use, or you could use a pillow, or you don't have to use anything. But since I've got this ball, this is the way I've done it. Well, I just don't have room in front of the camera. But I'm going to pretend I'm on the back of the wall. So if you find a blank wall space that you can do this, you're going to press, this is a mirror, but I don't want to break it. You press your back and the back of your head against the wall. So if you can still hear me and go to the wall, go for it. And then if your feet are hip width apart, it's going to be a comfortable distance. If you happen to have a pillow or a block would work, your yoga block, or something like this, you just place it, of course, in between your knees. Dealing with a plant here too. And then all it's doing is keeping the knees separated. And lower down the wall, but your legs are not going to go to a 90. They're going to go right above a 90. So you're not in a totally, like you were sitting on a chair and you created a definite lap. It's going to be right before that, and then slide back up. So try it again. I'm cleaning this mirror with my back, and then come back up. If you don't have anything in between your knees, just make sure they stay separated. So you really don't need this, unless we go to like the version 2 of it. And then also the back of your head and your back is on the wall. So nothing kind of comes forward and then come up. All right, if that's a lot, shake that out a little bit. And then the next version of this is going to be the actual squeezing of either the block of the ball, a pillow, or whatever, or just bring your knees in together. And back along the wall, head to, press into whatever you've got in between your knees. Now go into a squat and then come back up. And do that several times. So we've done lots of squats with the chair in class. And this is kind of the advanced version of it. I'm going to try one more. And see how you feel after that. Shake that out. Take care of your knees if you need to. We're going to keep working with the lower part of the body in monkey. So this is when we come down onto the knees. And then stepping, 1 foot forward and then extending that opposite leg and then come up. So this is the basis of monkey. So we just start right here. Just a little shift forward and back. In fact, place your hands on your knees. That's even better. And come to straight and then bend forward. So again, when we're coming forward toward the knee, we're finding that new, I call it a resistance point or a boundary, and this front psoas on the extended leg. So work with that thought in mind. Challenge if you need to. And if not, just work with that. Always maybe finding that new spot where you can go maybe just a titch more very comfortably. There's no pain involved in this at all. And then relax out of that side and switch. So remember, you want to extend that back leg at its longest point or fullest point, and then start the motion. And of course, always noticing if one side feels a little bit differently than the other and why. The why question always comes into play. And if it's from, past injury or whatever, acknowledge that and understand it. All right. Let's take a child's pose break just to rest. Okay, now come back to monkey. Start on the first side. And then find that point forward that is your farthest point forward or lowest point that's still comfortable, and hold it there. And just breathe. All right, now stay in this position. Place both of your hands on the floor on the inside of your front foot, and then drop that same hip toward the floor. And then come back up. And then keep lowering and rising. And if you can bring the hip all the way to the floor, go for it. And as you do, you can turn your head and look back at your back foot. All right, let's try one more and come out of that. And go right to the other side. So find, your monkey position, lean it forward and hold. Regulate your breath so it's calm and even and smooth. And then both hands to the floor on the inside of your foot, dropping the hip to the floor. Now let's try one more. Take a break. Let's take a crocodile break. Another 10 seconds, focus on breath. Keep full attention on breath awareness. And then back to standing. So we're going to do sun salutations. And let's do the chair version. So normally on Tuesdays we do one. Let's do 3 today, since we missed Monday's class, Memorial Day class. So find your mountain pose, forward, back, side to side. Get that nice balanced center and the foundation of the feet. Hands to the heart, and let's begin. Forward, up and back. And fold. Right lunge. Down dog. Cobra. Down dog. And right lunge. Fold. And come up. Fold. Left lunge. Down dog. And cobra. Down dog. Left lunge. Fold. And come up. Come to your heart. And do the next 2 on your own at your own pace. Always taking a breath or 2 in between. Maybe going a little quicker if you wish. And there's nothing to say that you can't make a sun salutation into an aerobic workout. You know, once you've known and done it many, many times and you've perfected the postures, that's when you can go quicker. So there's no skipping through any of the postures, even though you're going fast. And the breath can match as well. The breath can speed up. It's okay. You just make the breath tiny, not as full as when you do the slow versions. Okay, if you would find your way onto your backs. We're going to start out with some reclined pigeon and vary it a little bit. So we've done this many times in class as well. But pick a side, ankle over the knee, you know, the figure four, and then you're hanging onto the opposite thigh. So without moving that thigh toward you, just let it rest there so your arms are fully extended, elbows are not bent, they're straight. Now start to just gently draw that thigh in and releasing it. So it's got to be a real tiny move. Your elbows are barely bending, but you're still drawing that knee in. So like if someone walked into the room and saw you, they would barely detect that you're actually moving that leg and drawing it in. It's just a tiny move. And then make a mental note on where you're feeling that. Even though it's as tiny and as subtle as it is, there's actually a lot of stretching going on in the glutes, in that IT band, in the piriformis muscles on the leg that's not crossed over. On the psoas muscles on the leg that is crossed. So let's relax out of that, straighten out your legs, kind of notice. Take a couple nice deep breaths, get re-energized, And then cross the opposite one over, hang on to that other thigh. So keep the elbows straight first and just settle into this. There's nowhere to go. Okay, now start that subtle movement. And if you have an inclination to match it with your breath, go ahead. Generally, if you're squeezing something toward you, that would be your exhale. And maybe 10 or 12 of these or 15, somewhere around there. You don't want to move the muscles or the tendons too much. Just enough to activate them so the mind knows that muscles are working. All right, straighten your legs out. All right, bend your knees, bring your feet flat on the floor again. Now go back to that first side where you cross the ankle over the knee, grab that thigh. And this time, bring that thigh in as close as you comfortably can. And if you've done this before, I wonder if you can bring it in deeper without discomfort. Let it go and try it again. Try it several times. So now we're trying to find the deepest point. And after doing it several times, and you don't think you can go any deeper, hold it there. Bring attention to breathing. And just relax into it. This is a very important stretch for these large lower muscles. Everything is connected to the lower lumbar spine. And this is where many people in our culture have difficulty and injury and discomfort, sometimes leading to surgery, or sciatica pain that travels all the way down to the foot or ankle or knee. So if you have any of those issues and you can hold this comfortably for 30 seconds and then work your way up to a minute or even 2 minutes, that could be beneficial. All right, let's gently relax that side, straighten your legs. And if sweeping breath comes naturally at this point, go for it. It's perfect. Exhale down to the toes and inhale back up to the crown. All right, just a couple times. Bend the knees, feet flat on the floor, cross the other side, grab that thigh. We're going to start now drawing it in deeper and deeper. And whatever number you come up with, 3, 5, 6, whatever, hold it at that deep point. And then just work with the breath. Try not to let the mind wander. So we want to stay focused while we're holding
And if there's some sense of, an uncomfortable, which you're going to find, in that IT bin, it's generally rather tight, and it should be, but still relax it and breathe into it. So relax all the parts of the body that you're not using. And we'll hold this for, if it's comfortable, for 30 seconds to a minute. It's probably been pretty close to a minute already. And without allowing the mind to wander, always just come back to the breath. You can even use Soha mantra, that's fine. That always brings mind and body back into harmony. All right, gently release, go slow, straighten the legs. Just deeply relax, sweepy breath. Okay, since we're still working on the same body part, we're going to come out of that brief rest. Come up onto your elbows like this. The old way that you used to watch TV when you were a kid. And all we're going to do is lift one leg, what is that, 10 inches, and lower it. But I want you to flex your foot and lift and lower. So notice as soon as you flex your foot, your leg is strong and the muscles are tense. Tense the muscles purposely. So go all the way up to the hip flexors and the glutes. Tense, lift, keep the tension in the whole leg the whole time as you're lifting and lowering. So again, this is that isometric way of resistance. Like if you had a band here, you would feel that same sense of resistance. So it should feel very strong, very controlled, and rather slow. And if you can get, 10 or 12 of these in, 15 of them, that's wonderful. And then when you've had enough, let that leg go completely limp, shake it out. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. So just kind of test it, see if it's kind of okay to do what you need to do with it. And then now start engaging from the hip to the heel. And everything is tight. Now, what happened to your opposite leg? Did that tense up too? Relax that opposite leg. Just the one you're working on is in tension. So you want to bring all the energy to the leg that you're working with. So this is kind of like joints and glands on steroids. This is like the advanced version of it. This is going past Thursday's class, right? All right, if you've had enough, slowly lower, relax, and relax the whole body. All right, while you're resting, think about when we roll onto our tummies, we're going to do the same thing with the legs, except the toes are going to be pointed. And we're going to lift and lower the leg, tummy side down. So rest, do whatever you need, take care of the body, wiggle it all out. Breathe deep. Rest completely, let the legs go limp. All right, here we go. Roll onto the tummies. And however you want to do this, I do it this way, kind of like when we're in Cobra. If this is really uncomfortable, you can do forehead to the floor, but I think this is a little bit better. So just start with one leg, point the toes, and then start lifting and lowering. And then as you're used to it, tighten from the glute to the toes. And what happened to the opposite leg? Did that tighten too? Relax it. So the knee is straight. There's no bend in it whatsoever, because this is, we're working with that. This is the glute stretch. And all that standing leg work that we did kind of got us warmed up to do this strengthening portion of it. Okay, then relax that leg, go completely limp. If you need to rest your upper body, go ahead. In fact, maybe we should. Just 2-3 breaths and then come up and start the other leg. And then gradually start tightening muscles. Hips to heel. Relax the opposite leg. Pay particular attention to where you're feeling this. If it's too much on your low back, lower the upper body. But it should be generally located in the glute area. All right, let's take a rest. So reverse Shavasana and just wiggle it all out. Deep breath. All right, roll onto your backs. So this is going to be a version of arch pose or bridge pose, modified bridge. So if you would bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. And then raise your hips up into arch. So this is arch, this portion of it is the preclude to bridge, which is what we do on Monday nights when we straighten out the legs. So arch pose is this version of it. So lift the hips and lower and just get used to that motion. And then once you do, start walking your heels in closer to your hips. So the hips will come up a little bit higher and you feel a little bit more stable. I think the ankles are just about, well, they're not under the knees, they're the heels are closer to the hips. So just kind of give that a test ride up and down. And then lower your hips and just rest for a moment. Keep your heels right where they are. Don't straighten them out. And now we're going to come up, lift the hips up, and we're going to lift one leg straight up. Lower it, lift the other one up. Now keep switching back and forth. When you lift that leg up, try to straighten the knee, get the bend out of it. Keep the hips up as high as you can. Maybe do 5 on each side. I'm going to do 1 more on each side. And then when your feet are flat, slowly lower the hips. Take your time. Engage the abdominal muscles. And then straighten the legs out. Now, before we finish formally, go into a full happy baby and think of pressing the low back and that pelvis region deep into the floor. So you're not going to pull on your feet and lift your hips up. Rest, come deep into the floor at that low tailbone part of the back of the spine. Relax the knees. Relax the hip joints. Relax the low back, relax that pelvis area. Let them flatten, surrender to the floor. And then bring the knees together for a nice hug. And rock and massage the back. And then, as always, straighten out the legs, come into your full Shavasana pose, and rest as quickly and as deeply as you can. Sweeping breath helps. Go into that stillness of mind and body. And then allow this practice to propel you into a beautiful day. Centered, relaxed, strong, confident.
And gently roll left. Come back to seated. And as Helen Reddy said so infamously, back in the, almost have been the early 80s, I am strong, I am invincible. Namaste.